views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
And hello and welcome to Open, the one and only show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I'm your host, Darren Jaime. Today we're going to update you on what's happening in and around our community. We want you to stay connected to us because Open is coming to you right now. And hello everyone, I'm your host Darren Jaime, and today is Wednesday, August 24th. Of course, you're watching Open, a live program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. Now, we want to encourage you to stay connected to us. You can find out more about us on Twitter at BronxNet TV and Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. Well, kicking off the show, New York City Mayor, I should say, Bill de Blasio announced on Thursday that the city will spend $150 million building running tracks, soccer and baseball fields, and forest hiking paths at 5 major parks in the 5 boroughs. Now, the parks getting these upgrades include St. Mary's Park in the Bronx, Highbridge Park in Manhattan, Bentsley Head Park in Brooklyn, Astoria Park in Queens, and Fresh Kills Park in Staten Island. Each park will get $30 million. The projects are estimated to take about 4 years to complete. In other news, New York State officials announced that Friday, August 19th, was the last day for voters to register and to be eligible to vote in the September 13th state and local primary elections. New York City Council Speaker Melissa Mark Viverito said in a press release, quote, "This is a right that has been fought for time and time again, and we should never take for granted. We're proud of our work to make voting easier and more accessible, but New York City still faces historic lows in voter turnout." While state leaders were busy urging New Yorkers to vote, 2 former borough presidents announced their support for opposing candidates in the state Senate's District 31 elections. Former Bronx Borough President Fernando Ferrer endorsed Marisol Alcantara, while former Manhattan Borough President Ruth Messenger gave her support to Michael Asher. Now, we'll continue to follow the race for the 31st and many other stories that are contained locally. But before we go, we got to take a break, and we're going to tell you first, Macy's actually held its annual Give Back Day, refurbishing 1 Bronx high school. And our BronxNet reporter, Nancy Asiama, has more on the story.
Students of the William Howard Taft Educational Complex will go back to school and notice the many changes done to their campus. As part of their Give Back Day, Macy's teamed up with the Dream Yard Project to help refurbish the school building.
This is the 11th year. We've chosen different areas within the city. This is the first year that we're in the Bronx. And we have Give Back Day in conjunction with our United Way campaign. And we take our volunteers and we mobilize them and we get them involved in their local communities where we live and work. And that's been our mantra for our Partners in Time volunteer program.
One of the things that I think is so important today is for a young person to have a sense of hope for what the future holds. And hope means a sense that there's opportunity for them, that they can participate in our democracy. And so when they come into a school like this and there's a demonstration of care and compassion and thought, they walk in and they feel anything is possible for the future.
Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr., along with Assemblyman of the 79th District, Michael Blake, and others, joined Macy's CEO, Terry Lungin, to thank the 400 volunteers who dedicated their time and energy to give the school a new look.
What they're doing today is going to enable for the students that come here to come back during their school year and be able to see a pleasurable environment where they can learn, where they can achieve success.
Giving back is not just one day, it's about a lifetime. And so what's happening today is going to be transformational for the Bronx. It's really exciting.
We got a chance to go inside the school where they painted the walls, created a new wrestling room, and even refurbished the courtyard. The project also focused on revamping the locker rooms, theater, fencing, as well as canvas art painting, to name a few. Bob Chiarello is one of the volunteers, and he says he hopes their hard work puts a smile on the students' faces.
Just makes it a little bit special for when they come back, that everything looks brand new, and gives them a little inspiration when they go back to school.
That special feeling will surely be felt by many Bronx students who come to this campus to learn, knowing that someone cares about their future. Nancy Asiama, BronxNet.
Hey, look, it's those guys.
Let's go, Pearly Whites, man.
Ooh, cute.
Are you good to try?
I'm fine.
Hey girl, what's up? What's the name? What's good? What's up?
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Sir, go and step out of the vehicle for me.
Yes, sir. See ya, buddy. Today, Sean's got a hearing. We'll see how it goes. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Every Monday night at 9, we talk to the borough's movers and shakers about the latest in Bronx politics, education, healthcare, arts and culture, and literally any and everything that's important to the people of the Bronx. There's a reason why Bronxites have been turning to Bronx Talk for more than 20 years, because Bronx Talk is about you and me, the people of the Bronx. So we'll see you Monday night at 9.
Hi, I'm David Lesh, legal correspondent to the morning show Open. If you have a legal question that you'd like me to answer, please send me an email at davidlesh@bronxnet.org, and I will address it on our Ask Your Lawyer segment.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
And we are back here on Open. Well, as the Olympics have concluded in Rio, Brazil is making headlines, and not in a good way. Doctors have concluded that the deadly Zika virus can have devastating effects on the brain capacity of unborn children. Tests were ran on 45 Brazilian babies whose mothers were infected by the virus, and results show infants who were tested may show no original detection of brain damage because of the size of their brain, but researchers say the children will experience problems as they grow. The findings were published yesterday in the Journal of Radiology. And here at home, some other news. Last week we brought to you and reported that the update on the Zika virus outbreak in New York City has went up, and the Bronx having the highest Zika reported cases. Today, joining us in the studio, we have the Director of Special Projects from the Division of Disease Control at the city's health department, here to give us some new updates, as well as share with us how you can protect yourself from getting infected. We welcome now Dr. Neil Vora. And Dr. Vora, good to have you.
Thank you very much for having me.
As we said, first of all, a lot of concern. We know you heard the story out of Brazil, but definitely here at home, a lot of questions about Zika and the virus. And before we talk a little bit more about some specifics, for somebody who doesn't know what the Zika virus is, let's make our audience aware.
So Zika is an illness caused by this virus. In most people who have Zika, they won't even know they have it. 4 out of 5 people with Zika will show no symptoms at all. 1 out of 5 people will have symptoms of Zika, but the illness tends to be very mild: fever, rash, red eyes, and joint pains. The group that we're most worried about are pregnant women, because pregnant women with the infection can experience complications in their developing baby. The virus can go from the pregnant woman to the baby and cause these very serious complications, and that's why so much of our work is focused on pregnant women. The other comment I want to emphasize, though, is how this virus is actually transmitted. So in the parts of the world where we're seeing a lot of Zika cases, like in Central America, South America, and the Caribbean, the virus is most frequently transmitted through the bite of an infected mosquito. It can also be transmitted through sexual relationships and also from the infected pregnant woman to the developing fetus. So there's basically 3 most important modes of transmission.
And as we know it now, a lot of Zika viruses, of course, are being detected overseas, but we're seeing more and more cases here in New York. Any particular reason?
You're correct that we are seeing cases here in New York City. We have had over 480 cases here in New York City, but all of these cases have been diagnosed in people who had traveled abroad. Not any transmission has occurred here in New York City related to a bite of a mosquito here in New York City. In fact, the New York City Health Department is catching mosquitoes around the city. We have over 120 traps set up for mosquitoes around the city. And after we catch these mosquitoes, we look at what type of mosquito it is, and we test mosquitoes for the virus. And we've not found any mosquito with this virus. So that's good news. There are steps that people can take, however, to prevent getting Zika, and that's very important to emphasize as well.
So let's talk about those steps in terms of prevention, because a lot of people are watching, a lot of people concerned. What are some of the steps that can be taken?
First and foremost, avoiding mosquito bites. Whether or not someone is traveling to an area of the world where there's a lot of Zika or staying here in New York City, it's always a good idea to avoid mosquito bites. And so that means using insect repellent, wearing long sleeves and long pants during mosquito season, staying in indoor spaces that have screens on windows or with air conditioning. So those are some basic steps that one can take to prevent mosquito bites. And that's even important here in New York City, because while we don't have Zika virus in our mosquitoes in New York City, we do have something called West Nile virus in New York City mosquitoes. So it's always a good idea to prevent mosquito bites. Another very important thing is travel. So we have a strong recommendation that if a person is pregnant, or if someone is planning on getting pregnant, that they not travel to areas of the world where there's a lot of Zika. So meaning parts of Central America, South America, and the Caribbean, that pregnant women not travel to these areas. And that's because we're so worried about the complications that a pregnant woman can experience after she gets Zika.
And we talked about that in the headlines, with the new reports coming out of Brazil showing, as far as unborn babies actually still being affected by, the Zika virus, not being detected until later on when they grow up. Talk to us about this here, because there's a lot of prevention that's going on citywide, and I do want to say that the mayor has committed $21 million over a 3-year period to fund a 5-borough plan to deal with protecting New Yorkers against the spread of Zika virus. Any knowledge about what that's going to encompass?
Yes, and I'll comment further on that, but there's one other prevention message that I also want to mention, and that's because we know that the virus can be transmitted sexually. So if pregnant women, even if they're not traveling to a Zika-affected area of the world, if that woman has a sexual partner who has traveled to a Zika-affected area of the world, that couple not have sex for the duration of the pregnancy, or more realistically, that they use barrier methods such as condoms for the duration of that pregnancy, because again, the virus can be transmitted through sex. Now, to get to your other point about what the city is doing, you're right that the mayor has really taken a lead for the city and for the country in efforts to prevent Zika. He has committed over $21 million over the next 3 years to protect New Yorkers from getting Zika. And the New York City Health Department, since 2015, has really been preparing for this Zika situation. So the health department offers testing for humans through our laboratory. We were one of the first laboratories in the country to be able to test humans for Zika. And we offer that testing for free if people meet indications for testing. And particularly want to emphasize that if a woman is pregnant and has traveled to a Zika-affected area during her pregnancy, she should get tested. or if a woman is pregnant and had unprotected sex with someone who traveled to a Zika-affected area, that pregnant woman should get tested for Zika. The health department is also catching mosquitoes around the city and has a very aggressive mosquito control campaign. And we're also testing mosquitoes for Zika so that we know if Zika is introduced into the mosquito population. Right now, no mosquitoes in New York City have Zika. And the other major component of our efforts is really focused on educating the public. With education and awareness, the public will understand what are the ways that they can avoid getting Zika, which is absolutely important. And we also work very closely with hospitals and doctors in the city to make sure that patients get the type of care that they need by making sure that the medical providers are informed.
Well, because we are a borough when a lot of people travel, and this borough is a very diverse borough, let's talk again before we get out of here about some symptoms, because if people do have symptoms of the Zika virus, they may not even know what those symptoms are.
That's correct. Most people will, even if they have the infection, will not know that they actually have Zika. 1 out of 5 people will actually show symptoms. The symptoms tend to be very mild, like fever, rash, red eyes, or joint pain. So if someone has traveled in the last 4 weeks to a Zika-affected area and then comes back to the United States, to New York City, and within 4 weeks develops one of those 4 symptoms, they should talk to their medical provider and get arranged for and have testing arranged. We also recommend that if someone had, even if they didn't travel, but they had unprotected sex with someone who traveled, and then shortly after that the person then develops symptoms that I described, then that person also speak to their doctor. But it's important to talk to the doctor first. We have a lot of information on our website about what Zika is, how to prevent Zika, and other information about Zika, including we just released a new website about mosquito control and all the efforts that we're putting in to mosquitoes. So if someone wants to understand what is the New York City government doing to control mosquitoes in their neighborhood, they can go to this website and they'll get information about mosquito control campaigns we've done, about standing water, because that's where the mosquitoes can breed, and how to report standing water to reduce the chances that mosquitoes breed in New York City.
Dr. Neil Vora is our guest here on Open, sharing with us a little bit about the Zika virus and what you can do to protect yourself, as well as what New York City is doing in prevention efforts. So we want to thank him for joining us. Now, if you want to get more information about the Zika virus and get information about prevention, you can go to the website that was listed on the screen while Dr. Vora was speaking. If you didn't get a chance to get it, www.nyc.gov/health. And of course, you can find out more information there and get yourselves armed with information. Dr. Vora, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us.
Thank you so much.
And of course, we got to bring you back and you continue to give us some more updates and more information.
We'd very much like to do that.
All right, Dr. Neil Vora. Listen, we're taking a quick break here on Open. We encourage you, don't go anywhere. We're coming back with more show right after this.
1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up 1 finger if you're a man, women 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
You got to learn your body, pace yourself, and have fun. So let's go have fun. Let's go do it.
But see, the tricky thing about shoulders, your shoulders is a 3-tier muscle. You have your front delts, you have your rear delts, and you have your mid delts. So when you're working out your shoulders properly, you have to do 3 different exercises.
It's wonderful being able to compete with a lot of these young guys from all over the world. It's important to stay in shape.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
And you're watching Open. Thank you for joining us. Darren Jaime here with you. The 6th Annual Community Health Fair brought parts of Parkchester together, promoting healthy living and a healthy life. BronxNet reporter Tatiana Parrish has the story.
What better way to bring the community together than free food, music, and rock climbing? The 6th Annual Community Health Fair brought together members of the Parkchester community to advocate living a healthy lifestyle and to enjoy the festivities.
One of our core convictions is that we want our community to be healthy, body, soul, and spirit. And most people think that the church is only going to be involved with the soul and the spirit, but the person can't be truly healthy unless their body is healthy.
We have kids whose parents may be even illegal, but they don't speak English, no way to reach out to them. And this was a perfect way for us to say we can help our community.
Sir Tim and Diana believe being healthy is not only a religious thing, it's also a human thing.
Whatever community growing for new generation, they're going to be watching us. How we doing for each other. They're going to do the same thing after all. We are not going to stay forever. Our next generation to watch us how we combine with Christian and Muslim religion.
The fair provided a variety of free services ranging from health testing and citizenship classes. Brother Shahid of the Parkchester Mosque decided to team up with the Church of Revelations to improve the health conditions in the community.
This particular demographic area is high in asthma, obesity, and so we're bringing forth today health information for our family members here.
Two churches of the opposite religion collaborated together to inspire their community to make better health choices. For BronxNet, this is Tatiana Parrish.
And thank you, Tatiana. Well, in political news, the race for the White House is down to 75 days and counting as Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are making their way across the country, each stumping for votes. Hillary Clinton trumping on the fact that Donald Trump has not released his tax returns. On the other side, Donald Trump talking about emails. Our guest in studio, political analyst J.C. Polanco, he breaks down the latest in the race to the White House. J.C., good to have you.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, good morning to you. As we are talking now, obviously, 75 days, as we said, and counting. Let's talk about strategy here, because as we see numbers are showing that the GOP and the Republican Party really struggling in trying to get the White House. Is it safe to say that there is a concerted effort to save rest of the Senate, but pretty much concede the presidency?
You know, so the Bronxites watching today, I mean, they know I'm a Republican, and most of them know I'm never Trump, but I'm also never Hillary, so it works out. And I'm going to give you the best impartial analysis that you can
For the first time ever, go ahead.
I'm going to try my best.
Okay.
I got to tell you, this is an interesting electoral map. It looks as if Donald Trump is going to get crushed in November. I mean, there's just no way around it. Every poll that we've seen shows Donald Trump down by almost double digits in all of the battleground states. He's going to lose the popular vote, and it looks like it's going to be a bloodbath for my party in November. Now, you know, 75 days is a very long time, and one day is an eternity in politics. So a lot of things can happen. And if Donald Trump and his staff do this correctly, they can tighten this race after Labor Day. You know, you got to take a look at the news and see what's happening with Hillary Clinton. I mean, the email scandal is not going away. And since the FBI report came out about the things that she did inappropriately and they did not go and seek an indictment, there has been new developments. The AP is reporting that there have been 15,000 new emails discovered showing a connection between Hillary Clinton, the Department of State, and the Clinton Foundation, where donors that send money to the Clinton Foundation received access to the Department of State and to meet with her. That's very dangerous.
But given all of that, is that enough to change the tide?
Well, it could be. You know, at the end of the day, this is a battleground state election. And Bronxites know this isn't about the popular vote. Bronxites know that New York is going to go Democrat. We know that. But there are battleground states where the race may tighten up with independent voters. You know, the experts are saying that there are about 15 million Americans that are going to make this decision. Those 15 million are independent voters that are undecided up till today. And you never know. I mean, these numbers can change. If Donald Trump stops what he was doing all year long, and I kept coming here to your program, Darren, crying every opportunity about the bad things he was doing, if he changes that and now focuses on the pay-to-play scandal that the AP is discovering regarding the Clinton Foundation, the Department of State, and Hillary Clinton, you may make this a closer election. Then there's the other aspect of this, which is the phenomenon of people not admitting that they're voting for Trump because they're embarrassed to admit it, right? Can you believe that? Mm-hmm. And how is that going to sway on election day? For these poll numbers are showing double digits. Are there enough people that are ashamed to admit they like Donald Trump that's going to make this election close?
Well, out of Austin, Texas, a couple of things happened. We know that he spoke about softening his stance on immigration, also appealing to African-American voters. New numbers showing that that's about 2% of African-Americans are actually in support of Donald Trump whatsoever. Is this too little too late? I mean, obviously for most people, they say, you know, you should have been talking this a long time ago, and you should have changed your rhetoric.
Yeah, it's too little too late. You know, the reality is, I know Republicans are watching me, and don't hate me, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's just too late. You cannot go talk about African-American issues in an almost exclusively white county and tell the crowd how terrible things are for African-American people. I mean, that's just awful thing to do. The optics are bad. The messaging is stereotypically bad.
Well, he said,
and it's terrible.
Quote, we want to make sure that you don't get shot.
I mean, yeah, in addition to other things. I mean, I think it's too little too late. And I really wish that the Trump campaign would have had an African-American advisor explain to them that when counting black unemployment, you really can't count black full-time college students and high school students. You know, it's just, it skews the number a little too much. And I think there are some issues that African-Americans would agree are serious issues that Donald Trump brought up that the African-American community faces. But to be quite honest, I don't think he's the messenger, and I think that wasn't the crowd for him to deliver that speech to. Considering that he's been invited to speak at the NAACP and the National Association of Black Journalists, and he's refused to do those events, and he goes and gives these speeches, I think that African-American voters are upset. The ones that I've spoken to are angry. I know that his black supporters today are stronger than ever and are happy that he addressed these issues, but I don't think they're enough to sway the election. As far as Hispanics, I'm Latino. I don't get, Hispanic election amnesia. I remember that for 15 months, all I heard was terrible things about undocumented immigrants and castigating so many of them as rapists and drug dealers and killers. These are things you don't forget. And I was on your program, Darren, when I said he has to apologize for that. He has to apologize for that. You don't have to be Mexican to be offended. I mean, you could be a rational American and say that's not right, that's unfair, and you should apologize. He didn't. And right now with 75 days, it's just a little too late. And he has to do he has to do a miracle. And I don't know what that miracle is to be able to get as many Hispanic and blacks supporting him that Mitt Romney did in 2012.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your party for a minute, the GOP. For obvious reasons in the last election, people had said, if the GOP is ever going to win the White House, you have to do something to court the Latino vote. You're going to have to do something to court the African-American vote. Given the fact that you have Donald Trump, you have this racist rhetoric, you have this, how far back has the GOP been set given the fact with the Trump candidacy and all the racist and divisive rhetoric that we've heard, does this just not set you back this presidential election, but also presidential elections in the near future?
You know, it has. To be honest with you, Darren, it set us back. One of the reasons I'm so angry is I've been working so hard to make it a more inclusive party, and this guy was a Democrat until pretty much yesterday, and out of nowhere, he's just set us back so far. I think we're going to need a few elections to get over the trauma of the Trump campaign on bringing Black and Hispanics and Muslims and young women and young people to the party. But I have to tell you, I think one of the problems that we're having with Donald Trump is not just his messaging, but it's the fact that he's taking up all of the air in the room. You know, there's so many things that we can be talking about Hillary Clinton, not just the emails, but what has she done for the Black and Hispanic community? How has she helped urban issues across the country? What has been her contribution to a lot of the bad things that have happened across our communities here in the Bronx? I mean, there's so many things we can point to. We could talk about her inaction regarding the Puerto Rican debt crisis and why Puerto Rico is in debt the way it is today. We could talk about the fact that when she was in the Senate, she did nothing about immigration reform. These are all of the things that we could have a discussion on and bring people into our party, but unfortunately, we can't right now because almost all of our minutes that we spend on air, we're talking about the terrible things that Donald Trump has said in some interview on Fox, and it's becoming a burden for our party and for rational Republicans trying to bring people in.
You served as the former head of the New York City Board of Elections here, working in the polls. Let's play this out for a moment. People will obviously not vote for Trump. And then you have other people on the other hand who will vote. But breaking that vote up in terms of, okay, I'll vote Democrat on this issue, I'll vote Republican on this issue. How many people do we actually see actually split their vote when it comes to, because you have, you know, local elections as well. How's this going to play out? Do you see a split vote happening?
No, not in the Bronx. There are other places where that happens. It happens a lot in Long Island and in upstate. Where voters go in, and I call them battleground voters. Mm-hmm. And that's what I always come here, and I try my best to be impartial. I know I'm in rough terrain with a place like the Bronx being so heavily dominated by Democrats, but if voters were to split their tickets in the Bronx, and if voters made themselves more valuable, then what would happen is that candidates would come and want to speak to them, want to debate, want to come here on BronxNet every opportunity and fight for their votes. But unfortunately, we don't split our ticket here in the Bronx. So we normally vote down the line for one party. And I don't think that's a good thing. I think that makes it so that you have one party monopoly. And unfortunately, there is no competition when it comes to the November elections. So I think that in the Bronx, I wish they did split their ticket. There are parts of the city where they will. Like in Staten Island, there are parts in Staten Island where they're going to vote for Trump, and they may vote for an assembly member to be in the, a Democrat to run to be their assembly member, and a Republican to be their senator. And they'll split their ticket based on the issues. But there are parts of the city that unfortunately just vote down the line for a certain party without regards to issues, candidates, etc. So I don't think it's going to happen.
So not really in the city, but on the outside, on the Outer Banks, the suburbs.
Yeah,
we'll
I think, you know, and unfortunately, and I'll say it and get mad and send me the emails and tweet at me if you want, but I think that the places you see candidates running for statewide office come and fight for votes are the places that split their tickets. And that is why when you look at the presidential campaign today, you will see Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump continue to visit those states where the people are the deciding factor in this election, where they could vote Republican or Democrat. Those people fight for those votes, and they show interest in the needs of the people in those states. Ohio, Nevada, Colorado, Florida, these purple states, right? These states where people are fighting. I wish that the Bronx was like that. I wish that voters saw themselves as battleground voters, but that's not going to happen. And there are a lot of reasons for that. I think my party has ignored a lot of the issues in the inner city for a very long time. And I think that the Democrats have taken advantage of that in many ways. So I think that we need a reset button. I think once this election is over, and I predict Donald Trump is going to lose in November, like I predicted a year ago if he won the nomination, we can press reset and start a new party where we're going to bring people in and hopefully get some of that rhetoric out of people's minds for a little bit.
All right, J.C. Polanco, it's always good to have you. You'll be back to break down some stuff in the near future.
Thank you so much.
All right, J.C. Polanco. Take a quick break. Got more shows. Stay with us. We'll open up a little bit more in depth right after this.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
I wish I was in school. If only I had a math test today. I'll stay after class. I'll clean the chalkboard. I wish I was in school.
School ends, but free lunches for your kids don't have to. Find your local food bank at feedingamerica.org/summer meals for help.
It's not always easy being a dad.
Do you have panda asthma too? Does that run in the family? This is the home of the most priceless kung fu artifacts.
But when you make an effort,
Dad, we're not supposed to touch anything. Oh, sorry. Go long, son.
it's always worth it.
Whoa, faster!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
I am gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
The Hispanic Federation runs educational programs to support students and their families at every stage of the academic system, from childhood education through college graduation. But before we go any further, we're going to take a look at a promotional video for their new show that's airing right here on BronxNet.
As a mentor, really our goal is to help the students in any way that we can, not just with the academic side of things, but also to bring to them resources that we know we have available here on campus, and also resources that are handed down through the Hispanic Federation.
Anytime that I mentioned like struggling time management or anything like that, he always had something that I can use to help me fix that problem.
I received a text from one of my mentees, Jose Acevedo. I recommended him for an internship with Univision and the Hispanic Federation. And he called me yesterday excited because he loved the event, and he called me, he's like, can you send me more? I need more. I'm like, it's 12 p.m. at night, but I'll send you more.
I joined Crear Futuros for guidance. I need somebody to tell me, you know, this is how you do something. I need help with my resumes, my essays, just someone there to talk to. It's nice.
And here now to talk about the organization and the programs it has to offer, we welcome the Vice President for the Division of Student Affairs at Lehman College, Jose Magdaleno, and the Senior Vice President at the Hispanic Federation, Frankie Miranda. We thank you both for coming and sharing with us here.
Thank you. Pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Pretty exciting what we saw. And let me start with you first, Jose. Give us a little bit about this and the background.
Well, this is an initiative, this is a collaboration that began in 2012 with the Hispanic Federation, focused on supporting our Latino students here at Lehman. We're all about student success and helping students transition to the college, get the most out of their experience from at Lehman, and graduate and move on to the next chapters in their lives. And so this partnership has been very, very important to us over the past several years.
And so this show, we're going to have an opportunity to see this show, and it's airing here on BronxNet, of course. And talk to us about what people will be able to see.
Well, they're going to be able to see these students, the way that they are interacting and participating in this program. As Magdaleno said, it started in 2012, and it was only a few colleges. Lehman was one of the first ones to participate. Today, there are 6 colleges participating in the program with more than 1,200 students participating. And what we wanted to accomplish, we wanted these students to know that there are people like them that they can count on and that they can have better opportunities in the future. Unfortunately, 15%, only 50% of Latino students in New York City are graduating college ready from high school. So we need to make sure that these students are supported throughout the college process and they can talk to people. They know that there are people like them that they can talk to, support the Hispanic Federation providing these services, and what better partner than Lehman and CUNY to do this.
Yeah, it is an excellent partnership, and I want to talk a little bit about those barriers because sometimes we don't know, and the public doesn't know about some of the barriers that are facing the Latino community resulting in these numbers. What are some of those barriers?
Well, many of our students are first-generation students. And so as first-generation college students, they grapple with a number of very significant issues. First and foremost, there's the college application process itself, which can be daunting. There are financial issues and the nationally known issues with the FAFSA application and the challenges that poses to many people. And also the fact that just the transition from being a high school student or a transfer student to a new institution with different expectations, we need to do a better job of providing a roadmap for success for our students. And that's what's critical about this partnership and the fact that it is based on a peer-to-peer model, which is very powerful.
Right. Crear Futuros, and I want you to share a little bit, let the public know, tell us what we're going to see.
Crear Futuros is basically creating futures, and we are going to see how students can support students, how the non-for-profit sector can work with the educational system or the universities like CUNY, and also with the private sector. We were sharing experiences of students for the first time being introduced to fields and industries that they had never thought that they could actually aspire to, that they can see professionals, Latino professionals, talking to them and say, we were like you at some point and there is a bright future for you. So I'm very excited about this show, and I'm very excited about other students that probably in high school that will consider coming into CUNY and Lehman and participate in this program.
Jose, what are you hoping that people will take away after seeing a show like this?
Well, what I want people to understand is that the Crear Futuros program here at Lehman is one of the most powerful resources and approaches that we have to supporting student success. And I think that when you show people the nature of the interaction, student-to-student interaction, and you hear firsthand from our students what their experiences are about, it's very exciting and very powerful.
And I may add, the model here at Lehman right now is opening up in Connecticut and also in Florida. So it has been extremely successful, and we are very proud of it.
And you guys have 3 main components. I don't want to go too deep, but you have 3 main components to this?
Absolutely. We have the mentors, which are students that help other students, the mentees that also participate in the program, but also the elements of social services that the Hispanic Federation member agencies can bring. Many circumstances affect the life of a student. There are issues probably at home. There are issues that they feel that they are the only ones facing them. And through the Hispanic Federation, we are able to help that family, help that student be connected to those great services. And also, of course, all the resources that Lehman has, being able to access those resources to be able to participate in the student life and also becoming a better, rounded student that will end up being a better professional.
Get the final word.
As I mentioned earlier, this is a partnership that has been growing. It's proven to be very effective. We're retaining 100% of the students that participate in this program move from being first-year students to second-year students. We've been very successful with first-year students. this program has only added to that success. And I think when you hear from the students themselves about their experiences, you'll see why it's so successful and why we're hoping to be able to grow this program over time.
And to watch it on television obviously is going to be very special for people, and hopefully more people become involved and understand the process. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Jose and Frankie, they are here with us here. And Jose Magdalenos, the Vice President for the Division of Student Affairs at Lehman College. And then we got Frankie Miranda, who's the Senior Vice President of the Hispanic Federation. Thank you both for coming and sharing with us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. We also want to let you know Crear Futuros will air for the first time on BronxNet Channel 67 today at 6 p.m. and we'll follow the schedule on the screen afterwards. We want you to stay tuned because we're going to have more show coming right back after this.
Adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
I'm only 17, but I know about investing. Believe in something, buy shares in it, watch it grow. So, what if you could invest in the future? The future of kids, like a stock. Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. I could be one of the first college graduates from my family, the first philanthropist from my neighborhood. And if I'm the first, then maybe there's a second and a third. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow. My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
What are you, superheroes?
Just four brothers who hate bullies and love this city. Gear up, guys.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
And we're back here on Open. Montefiore held an event recently promoting Breastfeeding Awareness Month, and our BronxNet reporter, Arlene Makoko, was out there. She has a story.
I have no words for being a new mom. It's amazing. She's beautiful, and I love spending every moment with her.
here with their 7-week-old daughter, Amelia Trevini Applegate, here celebrating Breastfeeding Awareness Month, shared that she made the choice to breastfeed thanks to the support of pediatric and neonatal physicians here at Montefiere's Comprehensive Family Care Center on Eastchester Road.
Breastfeeding is really where you get all the benefits. The benefits, she gets all my immunities, all my antibodies transfer through, which is amazing because she's going to be so much more set up to fight any illnesses. She's not going to be predisposed to things like asthma, childhood diabetes, things like that. And that was all I needed to hear. Anything else was just added bonuses.
It's that glowing review and those added bonuses that Dr. Catherine Kelter, who specializes in pediatrics and is a board-certified lactation consultant, wants more moms to take advantage of.
Breastfeeding confers many health benefits to mothers and their children. Many of the issues our patients face: diabetes, asthma, obesity, cancer, heart disease. Many of those can be prevented or ameliorated by breastfeeding. And the longer a mom breastfeeds her child and the more she exclusively breastfeeds, the more effective it is in preventing those health illnesses.
A mom of 3 daughters, Dr. Kelter knows breastfeeding has the potential to be a tough sell, particularly among working moms.
Personal experience, it can be a challenge going back to work. The key is, educating mom ahead of time, getting her set up with her pump, and we have now the Affordable Care Act that mandates women, have time to pump and a space to do it at work, and also coverage of breast pumps by insurance. And then in New York, working towards paid family leave, having lactation rooms available. These are all ways we can support moms.
While breastfeeding is a choice, the National Breastfeeding Awareness Campaign, in effect since 2011 and funded through the United States Department of Health and Human Services, wants to build up the number of health professionals at clinics and hospitals like this one to encourage moms to breastfeed.
So I think that listening to our families and supporting their choices, it makes you feel like you've done something at the end of the day.
The challenges include providing better training and education, as currently only 1/3 of women reach their breastfeeding goals.
Now, therefore, Ruben Diaz Jr., Bronx Borough President, do hereby recognize the providers at the Comprehensive Family Care Center in recognition of World Breastfeeding Month and proclaim the first week of August 2016 as Breastfeeding Awareness Month.
Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. also commemorated the day, saying breastfeeding is something that can benefit everyone.
Because breastfeeding alone, it makes the child so much more healthier, the immune system, the development, and it also helps to form that bond between a mother and child from a very early age.
Because of the health benefits alone, staffers here at Montefiore Medical Center are hoping that all new moms consider breastfeeding. For BronxNet, this is Arlene Makoko.
And thank you very much, Arlene. Well, in other news, our next guest comes from an organization that's designed to teach the community how to communicate using different forms of art. Here now to talk about the Mind Builders and their upcoming event, we welcome now Belinda Velez and Melveda Hughes, and thank you so much for coming and sharing with us. We've been talking about this for a minute. I almost jacked it up again. We talked offset, got to the moment, and I dropped the ball, but I'm picking it up right now. Welcome.
It's all right. Thanks for having us.
Good to have you. Listen, let's talk about this. You got a very special event coming up. You got a Arts Festival, Open House Street Festival,
Yes.
and obviously something the community can participate in. And I'll start first with you. Tell us about how the festival is going to go down.
Okay, so our festival is on Saturday, September 17th. It's from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. We actually close the street. We have permits to close the street, have vendors on the street. We're having food vendors, gift wares, local sponsors from the community. We're having music events. We're having performances from our students within the school of all ages. We have our building is an open house for everyone to walk through to have our art explained, and we were given a whole art collection of African art that is that decorates our whole entire building. And this all started 3 years ago. So this is our 3rd annual street festival and open house. We'll also have sample classes, which Ms. Malveda can explain. And the whole purpose of it is to just bring the community in and make us all realize we're all family.
And you talked a little bit about those classes. Give us some more.
Okay, so at Mind Builders, we have programs in theater, music, dance, praise dance. We also have ballet, modern, hip hop, all the things that everybody loves to do. Zumba, we have a slam and Zumba class with a fabulous new teacher. We also have a theater program for our teens. We have a folk culture program. Belinda mentioned the African art. We actually had a program where we had young people come in and they were actually taught about the significance of the various African pieces that we have. And they are now qualified to give tours. We've actually had some young people come in from some summer programs to take the tours. And we also did a visual arts component with it. So we actually have some of the kids' art up in the studios right now, decorating our walls. So we have lots and lots of stuff going on at Mind Builders.
And so obviously a chance for the community to come on in and participate. And we talked about bridging that gap and using community and arts and coming together. And how big, for those people who don't know, are arts right there in the community?
Well, originally this whole thing started because our founder could not find arts for her daughter in the Bronx. So she was a former public school teacher and she took this whole endeavor on for herself. She wanted to bring arts to the community. Studies show that arts, for children that participate in arts, they do better in classes, their GPA is better, their test scores are better, and dropout rates are lower. So arts is a big deal, and we're losing it in our public schools.
Talking about Madaha Kinsey Lamb, and special shout out to her today.
Yeah, absolutely. She definitely deserves it because she has been tenacious in keeping this alive for over 40 years.
Yeah, it's been a great accomplishment, I know, down through the years. Because I said, we've covered Mind Builders and to see the growth of where things are growing and the program expansion.
Yes, and I want to encourage. I know there are lots of Mind Builders people who've come through Mind Builders, young people, families. I want to encourage them to come out and check us out and see what's going on. Our building has been totally renovated. They will grasp and grab their pearls when they see the building. It's absolutely fabulous.
It's beautiful.
The last time they came to Mind Builders or visited, we had actually only 2 floors that were renovated. Now the whole building is done from top to bottom, and it's absolutely gorgeous. When people come back, they are astounded. And we have lots of people who come back and they remember us. They had a great experience at Mind Builders. They bring their kids. We have some 3rd generation, I call them legacy families. Like they're on their 3rd generation and they just keep coming back. So I feel obviously we're doing something that the community loves and we want to make everyone aware of it. In some ways, I still think we're kind of a big secret, because when people come or just stop in, they're like, wow, had no idea. And like Belinda said, we've been there almost 40 years. So yes, I just encourage everybody to come and see. You will be amazed if you've never visited us before. And with special shout out to our alumni. They're all over the country, but you know, follow us. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter.
Yes.
Check us out. Check out the website, Mind Builders, mind.builders.org.
Mind-builders.org. Twitter, we're Mind Builders CAC. Instagram, we're Mind Builders CAC. And on Facebook, we're Mind Builders Creative Arts Center.
I want to tell you, make sure you come on out. September 17th is the day, and we want you to come on out, be a part of that very special celebration, the open house and street festival. So if you've never been to Mind Builders, come on out, check it out, see all the great things. Yeah, take a class, right?
Yes.
Dance class or something. You got a whole bunch of them there.
All kinds. And music.
And music, right? Malveda, thank you so much for coming. Belinda, thank you.
Thank you.
Good to have you, and hopefully we'll see you on the 17th.
Indeed.
Expect to see you there.
All righty.
I'll save a spot for you.
Huh?
I'll save a spot for you. What kind of class you want?
I don't know. I might check
Martial
out
arts, maybe.
the Zumba.
Zumba is
there
hot.
you go.
You never know. You never know. Okay. Well, you never know. But I do know this. We are out of show. Come to the end of our show today. We want to thank our guests for joining us, and most of all, the viewer for tuning in. And guess what? If you missed any part of today's show, please catch the Recablecast. It comes on at 5 and 10 p.m. on Cablevision's channel 67 or Verizon Fios channel 33. Darren Jaime saying take care and God bless.